Hey gang, here's a picture of my 1931 Ford two-door sedan that I built a few years back. He was my daily driver until had some biatch run me over at a stop sign in a street. Ever since then, it's been sitting for a while. So here's some pictures of the build process. Here's a car on the beginning stages on the fab cart, and we're getting the engine cradle built for it. You can see it comes up to the top of the firewall and bolts inside. I'll show you better pictures of that later. Here's the drop axle in the front. Rear is installed. Car's a roller here. So you can see how low it was. It was about 4 inches off the ground. This picture of the back. We haven't cut in the exhaust yet, but the car's basically on the ground. Here's a better picture of the car without the grill on it. You can see the cradle that goes around the engine. So it's basically held up in the front by this engine cradle, and then everything, the four link comes from the back and goes forward. It's got a reverse triangulated four link in the front. This picture in front of my house with the intake on it, with the adapter for the two 4-barrel Hollies. Here's the roof the way I got it. I chopped it. I decided the roof was a little too tall, so I decided to chop it 2 inches more. So here's cutting the roof off it and chopping it. Chopping a Model A is like probably the easiest chop it could be. I mean, it's just so easy. So I took 2 inches out of the lid. It just looked a lot better, I think, this way. I mobbed it around in gray with a black top for a while. That was for about 6 months. Here's at a show around town. Another picture of it. That was the basic stance of the car. It looked good gray and white, gray and black. But I wanted some color on it. So here's in the paint booth. We're painting. I do the red stripe first, so we painted the red on it. And then we did the Ford gray and with the black molding area around it. That's what it looked like from the front. And then here's the back. And here it is again, where it's all done. This is when it was a driver. And then, so here we go. A couple shows doing too. I went to the Boho show, and Bobby from Sons of Anarchy came up, and he was pretty cool. We talked for a while. Hey gang, so here's where we are today. This is my Model A. Everything's all apart right now. There's a new motor for it. There's the old motor for it. So we're going to be taking all the parts off the old motor, all the external stuff, put it on the new engine. I went from a 292, well, basically a leftover engine from a customer car. He wanted a new engine rebuilt. His car ran fine. So we agreed that we would use one of my core motors, and we took that down, had it rebuilt, and I kept the old motor, which ran really good. You know, it just had maybe, I don't know, 200 horsepower, which in a 2,000-pound car is like having 400 horsepower in anything else, you know. This should be putting out at least 300, 320 horsepower. It's a pretty good little motor. It's a 312. It's got mummer cam in it, built heads, forged rods, steel crank. So it's got some good parts inside of it. We're gonna run the 2.4 manifold that we altered to run two 450 Hollies on it. See that right there? So I'm going to put that on there. I need to do a little tuning on those to make them work right. I'm going to use the Zoomies I had before, but this car has two exhaust systems basically. It's got the Zoomies that come out the side if I want to uncap those, and then it's got the exhaust that runs under the car. So I'll show you some details right now, okay? So there's a new Y block, the 312. It's going to go in the car. Here is the old one, and you can see we made a adapter plate down here to run the two 450s on it. Otherwise, you got to run the teapot, crappy old carburetors that Ford came out with back in the day, and I'm not going to want to run it. I didn't want to fight those. So I have an MSD on it, which makes a big difference. If you have a Y block and you ain't running an MSD, dude, get one. It makes all the difference in the world. Better starting, runs smoother. It's just all around awesome little distributor. So there's the front of the car. We're gonna start from the front and go to the back. The bell housing, right there, mounts to here, okay? And then we have a cage that goes across the front of it, which you saw in the earlier photos. I'm gonna pull it out and we're gonna start putting that on. Inside the car, it's kind of a mess right now. It's got a Schrader steering box in it. I adapted a 55/56 Mercury steering column to it. I'll show you the dash in a second. It's got Speedway pedals and, you know, I forget the Wilwood master cylinders with a Wilwood slave cylinder. There's the transmission tunnel. The tranny is exposed in the car. It's a T5 5-speed. It's right here. Okay, so that's what goes in the car. The tranny sits right next to your leg, all open. I don't know if I'm gonna stay with that. Probably put a blanket over this time. In the back, Ford 9-inch out of a van, so it had to be really wide to fit over the outside, all the way outside the car. It has a cantilevered, reversed, triangulated 4-link. See the bars that come forward? The frame of the car is actually perimeter frame, goes all the way around the car. It's 120 wall 2x3 tubing. You can see the back here. It's got towers that the arms go over. It's got coilovers in the back. These come forward. So when it pivots, it has the spring is in the back of it. This actually acts as your shocks plus your upper control arm. So out here to the side, here's the mounts for my roll cage, which we fabricated. You'll see all the tail work's been done. I'll show you here in a second why it's like this. It's gonna get covered and get installed the car this time. We're gonna put windows in it this time. Didn't have windows before. You can see this is a slide back roof. Pretty dirty because it's been sitting in here for a long time. But it unhooks from the front and slides back like a Volkswagen or like anything else did back in the day. Back here we have the AC condenser / airfoil. So when your AC comes on, this opens up and draws air through it from the wheel tubs down here inside. It has a tube coming from the back here and draws air from the back of it. It has some fans inside there, some tube fans, so to give it a little extra air when we're static. Here's a fuel filler. I lost the fuel cap. I gotta get another one for it. There is the exhaust coming out the back of it there. It's my smashed tail light or license plate. It's got 38 Ford tail lights on it. 16-inch rims and tires on the back. Here's the engine cradle or engine cage, however you want to call it. All right, I have everything powder coated. There's the zoomies. Okay, it has zoomies out here, and this is the exhaust that comes down. And I'll show you in the front where that goes to. Okay, one of those, that one there is smashed on the outside, so I'm gonna cut it and then reshape it and weld it back together again. So there's the exhaust that hooks to, goes under the car. So normally I run it on that exhaust when I drive around town, so it's not so rude. But you know, going through shows, I'll uncap it and I'll run the zoomies on it. Anyway, there it is. I had to put Ford on the engine because I got tired of people telling me it was a small block Chevy. I actually got an argument with people, okay? Just people that have no idea what a Y block is. They think all Fords the distributor goes in the front. No, Y blocks are in the back. So anyway, I put Ford on it and there it is. Here's the dash over here. I cut down a 55/56 Mercury dash. You can see where I shortened it at. I took about 6 inches out of it. I gotta finish that off. It's about ready to go. So anyway, there's my 31 Model A two-door sedan project. I gotta get back on the road. So I have a metal building. This is my metal building. You can see my van up there. All right. In the summertime in California, this is an oven. In the wintertime, it's great. So I've been kind of waiting for wintertime to come around. So at nighttime, I work in here on my car. I guess I could be watching football or TV, but I'd rather be building something. So this is what I'm doing at night. So I'm gonna keep you guys informed. Can do little videos of putting it together so you can see what, piece by piece how it works. Pretty cool little car. There's one more detail I want to show you real quick. So there is the sliders for the back. The rear end goes up and down, and a plastic slider inside there, kind of like a shifter would work. And by the way, I want to give credit where credit's due. Mark Legger, Mark Legger Fabrications did the frame and the chassis and the suspension for this car. I don't want to take credit for that. He's a great fabricator, and he's a freaking genius. And I want to give him credit where credit's due. So anyway, I did all the body work on it, as you can see in the paint, and I helped out a couple things here and there. I gave him some little, stuff, but for the most part, this is a Mark Legger build. I traded him the work for paint on his Nomad, which I'll post a little later on, and he did my chassis. So anyway, so there you go. Bye now. I will see you guys on the other side.